الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ أخذنا ميثاق بني إسرائيل لا تعبدون إلا الله وبالوالدين إحسانا وذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وقولوا للناس حسنا وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة ثم توليتم إلا قليلا منكم وأنتم معرضون وإذ أخذنا ميثاقكم لا تسفكون دماءكم ولا تخرجون أنفسكم من دياركم ثم أقررتم وأنتم تشهدون صدق الله العظيم. Regarding ayat number 83, Surat al-Baqarah, some of the major ahkam of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have been mentioned in a very beautiful form through the mithaq and covenant that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took from the Bani Israel. This covenant is the very foundation of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which every single Muslim, when we accept this deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we agree to all of these terms. It is very beautifully packaged in the very kalima of Islam, the kalima that when someone wants to become a Muslim, the kalima shahada. Indirectly, all of these ahkam and the whole of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is inside this kalima. And in essence, this is a covenant that a person takes with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we actually break down the kalima shahada, it is very simple in meaning, but very deep in its understanding. A person who accepts Islam, so they'll take the kalima shahada, they'll say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. So this kalima, in it you find the whole of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That a person, he bears testimony that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, there is no ilah but Allah. So he acknowledges that he will only follow the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That he will not accept the kingdom of anyone or anything over or above the kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, we live in a world where there are countries, there are kingdoms, but all of them come secondary when it comes to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to do one thing, and the kingdoms of this world tell us to do otherwise, then it is our duty to accept the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It should be made very, very clear. There's no ifs or buts or secondary choice. Look at the lives of the Anbiya alayhimus salam, they're the most beautiful example. When the whole of society told them otherwise, they did not listen to the society. They abided by the ahkam and the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Often at time they ask this question. In the Western world, we've been asked this question by many Muslims who accept Islam, or many of those who are not familiar with the tenets of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or those that are more secular minded. They ask us this question: are you Muslim first or are you American first? Being American is not a religion. I don't know. First, this question is very strange. It's a very, very strange question, first of all. But they always ask you this question: are you Muslim first or are you American first? Being American is not a religion. And being a Muslim is not a country, some kind of country citizenship that you're taking. They're two totally different concepts. This is like asking someone if he is a human being or if he's a farmer. It's two totally different things. They have nothing in common. It's not as if you're a farmer, you're not a human. Like, strange. But anyway, it should be made very clear that those who do ask this question, indirectly what they're asking you is that where is your loyalty? Is your loyalty to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or is your loyalty to a country or to a nation or to some ideology? And it's not just limited to this country, but this goes back. Many of us who come from other countries, we have faced similar questions. It should be made very clear, we're Muslim. Regardless of where you are, regardless of anywhere you are, you're Muslim. Bas. It's not Muslim first or Muslim second or something else second. You're Muslim. Islam gives you the chance to live your life, and if you're in a country, to live your life, if the laws of that country does not oppose the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you live your life in accordance to the law of the land. Yes, if there is a country that opposes the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they do not allow you to be a Muslim, so hijrah becomes fard on you. This is the only option you have. You have option to get up and do hijrah, go migrate. Inna ardullahi wasi'atan fatuhajiru fiha. The earth of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's very vast. Almost 270 or 280 countries, very vast. So do hijrah, migrate. Yes, if you're not able to migrate, then you try your very best to keep your deen to yourself. Don't go out in public and display your deen. Your example will be like the very early Muslims who accepted Islam. They used to keep their deen to themselves, but you do not stop there. You still continue your efforts to do hijrah. That's very clear. There's no second choice or second option. You're Muslim. So this is what the kalima tells us. They will accept the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the mulk and kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there are things that are demanded of us in this deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they're not left to our interpretation. Someone asked, how do you be a Muslim? The Quran has laid out a map. But it did not stop with just the map. It also gave us a guide, someone who followed that map. And that was the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. His whole life, it is the most beautiful example for us. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرِ. Definitely there is in the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam the most beautiful example, most beautiful pattern for those who are seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the rewards of the hereafter. So that is the second part of this kalima, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. So each and every one of us who have said this kalima, the second part of this kalima being, I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he is the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger, meaning that he has shown us the best way to be the slaves and servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the main way, the best way to success. Every other way and every other concept, in the end will not give us success in the akhirah. It may give us some success in this world, but that is very, very temporary. But if we want eternal and perpetual success in this dunya and in the akhirah, then on one side we've been given a map, which is the kalamullah, the Quran. On the other side we've been given a practical example, that of the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Very beautiful. So this is the covenant that every single Muslim is taken and every single Muslim takes. This is not limited that, the Bani Israel were given covenants. Do we Muslims also have a covenant? Absolutely. We've been given this covenant and this option. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us of the covenant. For the Bani Israel, it had to be spelled out what the terms of this covenant meant. For the Bani Israel, it had to be spelled out. For us Muslims, it's very clear. We don't need too many details. It's such a beautiful format. In one kalima you become Muslim. That's how simple Islam is. Sometimes we overcomplicate it, Make things so complicated. Islam is simple. It's not like the other religions. First you have to baptize someone, put them in water, ya subhanallah, and the water is also yellow. It's not a very appealing color. Even you stop at the traffic light, after yellow comes red, which means the fire of Jahannam is coming. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. I don't mean that in any kind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a beautiful deen, this beautiful kalima. You take it, finish, simple. After that, your whole life is changed with just this one contract. So very simple. Everything in Islam is simple. It's not necessarily easy, but it's simple. Because we misunderstand it, we complicate it. The deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very simple. The Quran is very simple. It's not easy to learn. It's not easy to understand, but it's simple. Understand this concept very well. There's a big difference between something being simple and something being easy. You can take the easy route. It's not necessarily the best route. Or you can take the simple route. Yes, it may be a little bit difficult, but it is a simple route. And everything in life is like this. Everything in life. But the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we've been given to learn the Quran, to understand the teachings of the Quran, to memorize the Quran, it's not easy. But it is simple. It requires your time. That's it. Time and dedication. If you're dedicated, you can learn it. It's simple. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it simple. And with that simplicity there comes ease. There comes ease. It becomes easy eventually. So coming to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the Bani Israel, the terms of that covenant were spelled out for them. وَإِذَا أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. Important was the time when we took a covenant, and we made the covenant with the Bani Israel. Allah ta'budu illa Allah, that you do not worship anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, that you do ihsan with your parents. You deal kindly with your parents in the best way. وَذِي الْقُرْبَى, fulfill the rights of your relatives. وَالْيَتَامَى, of the orphans. وَالْمَسَاكِينَ, of those who are needy. وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, you speak to people in the best way. Do not have harsh words. Do not have a harsh attitude. Do not abuse people with your words. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, you establish salah. وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ, you pay zakah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says when they agreed to this covenant, ثُمَّ تَوَلَّيْتُمْ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Bani Israel. ثُمَّ تَوَلَّيْتُمْ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِّنْكُمْ. So most of you turned away, except a few. The vast majority. They turned away from these ahkam. They added their own ideas. They did not fulfill the rights of one another. They did not take care of the rights of their fellow beings, those that were around them. Except a few. There were a few that were sincere, very few. وَأَنْتُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Bani Israel, the vast majority of you turned away from this deen. But there was another covenant also taken from them. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that we also took your covenant, we took a covenant from you. Your covenant, we made it very, very clear to you. Part of that covenant was what? لَا تَسْفِكُونَ دِمَاءَكُمْ, you will not shed each other's blood. It does not say that you will not shed the blood of humanity. You will not shed each other's blood. Why each other? Because if you look at their tribal system, each tribe felt that they were better than the other tribes. And when you have this sense of arrogance, so the next tribe or all the other tribes to you are even worse than any human being. You don't even look at them like a human. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing them that don't shed each other's blood. Because you are considering the rest of you worse than humans. They're not even human. So if you're not to shed the blood of something you don't even consider human, so why will you shed the blood of something that is human? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this very clear to them. Do not shed each other's blood. لا تسفكون دماءكم ولا تخرجون أنفسكم. Don't expel each other from your homes. Don't make each other refugees. Don't make it, because you, in your arrogance, feel that your tribe is the only one that deserves to have the material things of this dunya, of this world. You cannot handle to see, or you cannot bear to see that another tribe of yours, who may be your cousins, that they may even have another home. Even if you see them in their homes, you try to make your effort to turn them into refugees. This is their nature. Nature is a very strange thing. This fitna, this nature of the human being is a very ajib thing, very strange thing. You can't change someone's nature. Yes, you can change how they channel that nature. You cannot change someone's nature. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in the Quran, that we gave them this covenant at the time of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, 3,000 years ago. Even before Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, almost 2,000 years before Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, this covenant was given to them. And when this covenant was given to them, they were told very, very clearly, don't shed each other's blood. Don't turn each other into refugees also. وَلَا تُخْرِجُونَ أَنفُسَكُم مِّن دِيَارِكُمْ. Don't expel one another. Don't make each other refugees. ثُمَّ أَقْرَرْتُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ تَشْهَدُونَ. All of you agreed to this covenant, and you bear witness that yes, we definitely take this covenant. Ayat number 84. Coming to ayat number 85. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that you agreed to this covenant, and you were witness to that agreement. In ayat number 85, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us what was their nature, what did they do. ثُمَّ أَنْتُمْ هَؤُلَاء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, now here you are. تَقْتُلُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ. You're killing one another, shedding each other's blood. Because of their tribal system, the tribal arrogance, the tribal hatred. Sometimes the hatred that family members have for one another is much worse than the hatred someone can have for someone who's not their family member. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. Yes, it's a reality. The kind of hatred that can happen. And this happened amongst the Bani Israel towards one another. Oh, you might be thinking, oh, but how united they are now. They're not united. Don't think they're so united. There are many things that cannot be said on video. I will try to say what I can. Yes, you might be thinking how united they are. They have their own country. The only reason they're united is because that's technically not their country. They're fighting the people of that country. This is why they're united. As soon as they're left to themselves, you'll see how united they are. They'll eat each other's flesh if they can. They'll eat each other's bones if they can. History is witness to this. This is not one time or two times. How many times they've done this? So much so that sometimes one tribe becomes so dominant. They completely oppress the other tribes. And because of that oppression, the other tribes turn around and make dua against that tribe. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends his adhab against all of them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in this ayat number 85. ثُمَّ أَنْتُمْ هَؤُلَاء. Now here you are. تَقْتُلُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ. You're killing one another. وَتُخْرِجُونَ فَرِيقًا مِّنْكُم مِّن دِيَارِهِمْ تَظَاهَرُونَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِالْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. And here you are turning some of you turning others into refugees with force and aggression, dhulm, oppression. وَإِن يَأْتُوكُمْ أُسَارَى تُفَادُوهُمْ. And they used to do such terrible things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in 2 words explains their actions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, تُخْرِجُونَ أَنفُسَكُم مِّن دِيَارِكُمْ بِالْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Used to do it with sin and udwan, rebellion, in the most aggressive of ways. The way they used to throw each other, the other tribes, out of their homes. Such aggression. And the kind of atrocities they committed against one another. They're not even worth being mentioned. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it in 2 words. Bil-ithmi wal-udwan. If you read history, you will understand what these 2 words mean. Yes, very simple translation. With sin and with udwan, going beyond the limits. But if you understood the kind of things they used to do to one another, especially they did not even consider the people of the other tribe even human. The kind of things they used to do. وَإِن يَأْتُوكُمْ أُسَارَى تُفَادُوهُمْ وَهُوَ مُحَرَّمٌ عَلَيْكُمْ إِخْرَاجُهُمْ. He said, now these refugees, you made them refugees. So where do refugees go? Many used to go to other countries. But vast majority of them ended up in the market. They got sold as slaves. And now these tribes, they were so corrupt. They used to go to the market and see the other tribe up for sale, so they used to buy them. They said, now we're having sympathy, we have raham for you, we're your well-wishers. You are our family. Because they understood the time is coming where now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them the upper hand. They're going to do to us worse than what we did to them. So they used to become those having mercy on them now. They used to buy them off so that they would not be sold to other people. They also deep down inside they believed that they were not allowed to become slaves of anyone else. They unanimously believed this, that from anyone from their tribe does not have a right to become the slave of someone outside of the Jewish tribe. So they used to buy each other. You become our slaves, that's okay. For you to become a slave of someone else, this is haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِيَّاتُوكُمْ أُسَارًا. And when they used to come to you as slaves, تُفَادُوهُمْ, you used to buy them. وَهُوَ مُحَرَّمٌ عَلَيْكُمْ إِخْرَاجُهُمْ. When it was haram on you to turn them into refugees in the first place. In the first place, throwing them out of their homes, making them homeless. This was haram on you. Now you think you're doing a mercy on them. You think you're doing a favor on them by buying them off from slavery. أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ. Are you going to believe in a part of the revelation and discard another part of the revelation? That you're going to believe in that part of the revelation that, oh, it is a favor on you if you help someone or you free a slave, that this is a good deed. But then you discard that part of the revelation that turning someone into a refugee, that this is haram. Now you're picking and choosing in your own revelation. فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, and this is the case, what do you think the recompense of such a people should be other than disgrace in this dunya? Time and again, how many times? History is full. Any time the Bani Israel have been given position in this world, they started doing these things. And when they started doing this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent His adhab against them. The kind of dhulm they were doing to one another. Forget outside people. What they were doing to one another. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send His punishment. And sometimes the punishment came in ajib ways, very strange ways. The most recent, Hitler. What Hitler did to them. You think Hitler woke up one morning and he just started? You think he had a vision or a dream and he just got up one morning and next thing you know he hated them? Go read the history of the Nazi party, how it started. And this is not something new. And don't also think that it's something finished with Hitler. It's not finished. Go read what Hitler just became the head of the party. The party already existed in Germany. For those who are familiar with the history of Germany, if you know, the Nazi party was already there. There were a group of German nationals who got together and they started looking at the society. And they said that, we died for our country. They were nationals. They said, we died for our country. We worked for our country. We built this country. We were the government of this country. We were the politics of this country. We were the finance of this country. We controlled the money. We controlled the lands. We died for it. We sacrificed everything. Who are these Jews that are coming now? They've taken over the banks. They've taken over the businesses. They've taken over our land. They've taken over politics. What strange politics is this? There was already a national party. The Nazi party is not something that Hitler started in. No, it was already there. Then Hitler just happened to come by. Go read his story. He just happened to become the head of that party. And what he did, then they tried to make excuses that he hated everyone with the blue eyes and blonde hair. And, he hated all these people. No. He hated what they were doing to his country. So he took revenge. And what he did to them, history is witness. But after all of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them some ground. There was some nations that saw the kind of oppression they were put through, the kind of dhulm they were put through. And they had sympathy for them. And if you go find out, there was one tribe that conspired with Hitler and the others against the rest of them. Destroyed most of them, killed most of them, made them refugees. Then what happened? They came back as saviors, That one tribe came back as saviors with the rest of the world and brought this whole peace and had this whole system set up for the genocide. We absolutely believe dhulm is dhulm, regardless of who it's against. I'm not in any way condoning the actions of Hitler. He was a terrible person. Every zalim, every oppressor in history is a terrible person. But I'm just trying to share with you that it has a basis. Don't think that dhulm just appears one day. It doesn't appear from thin air. There's some ideology behind it. There's some steps behind it. There's some system behind it. People get fed up. People get frustrated. Why do you think all these protests that are going on in the world today? You think people just woke up one morning, they were living a good life, and they got up one morning and started protesting? They were suffering. Even now, what's happening in Hong Kong, what is happening in Iraq, they don't even show in the news what's happening in Iraq. The youth are fed up. There's 80% unemployment in Iraq. This is unbelievable. People can't find jobs. People don't have any money. People don't have food. People don't have... What do you think people are going to do? When a human being starts to see his children dying, his family suffering from starvation, there's nothing. What do you think people will do? They'll stand up. This is a human. What happened in Venezuela? What's happening in Hong Kong? What's happening in Iraq? And this is only continuation of what was already happening in the Arab Spring. How it all started in Tunisia, and then in Egypt, then in Syria. Syria is still going on. What terrible conditions are going on. People get fed up. It's human nature to become fed up. But these things won't stop there.
Lebanon.
Yeah, Lebanon also started. Very, very terrible conditions. Some countries, very difficult to speak about what's going on. The kind of conditions going on. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told us that near Qiyamah takthur al-harj. Harj will increase. Sahaba asked, Mal harj ya Rasulullah? What is this harj? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told them, al-qatl, death. Death. If you go read the dictionary meaning of harj, it means violent protest that results in the death of many. This is the technical meaning of the word harj, violent protest. This is what is happening. And it won't stop. It will go all over the world. I don't think those conditions have ended. Human nature doesn't change. There's an old Greek fable. There's an old Greek fable about a scorpion that wanted to cross the pond. So the scorpion was standing there at the pond trying to figure out how to get across. So a frog came. It's just a fable, but it has a very deep meaning. The frog asked the scorpion, what are you doing? So the scorpion said, I want to get across the pond. So the frog said, no problem, I will get you across. So scorpion got on this toad, this toad, and the toad took him across the pond. So the scorpion turned around and stung the frog, the toad. So the toad told the scorpion, what did you do? I helped you and you brought me here. I brought you here and you stung me. The scorpion said, yes, I stung you because this is my nature. There are many people that you will help them. They'll turn around, they'll sting you. And it's happening. The society also, don't think that we live in such a safe society. We're almost at the tipping boiling point. That's why they have these organizations, these groups that have come up now, the neo-Nazi. Why do you think they call themselves the neo-Nazi? They used to be called white supremacists. They had KKK back in the 1980s. They were against anyone that wasn't white. Now the whole ideology has changed. They call themselves the neo-Nazi party, They're bringing back the teachings of Hitler. Such ajib. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save and protect us, because they won't stop. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us. But this is a reality of human nature. So the Bani Israel, they used to test their power again. Anytime one tribe would become powerful, they used to oppress the other tribes. Forget humanity. What they used to do to one another was terrible. You might think, oh, it's Bani Israel. Go see what we Muslims are doing to each other. It's difficult to even speak about what we Muslims are doing to one another. One Muslim nation comes into power, what do? Go see their actions. They start supporting the non-Muslims against the Muslim nations. In wealth, in finance, in military power, you name it. Very difficult to speak what is going on. Very difficult to speak the truth about how many Muslim nations have come to power, and rather than helping the other Muslim nations, they conspired with the kuffar and disbelievers to destroy those nations. You might think how terrible the Bani Israel are. Go see how terrible we Muslims are. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us hidayah and guidance. We were supposed to be one body. We were supposed to be one ummah. What have we done to each other? We've shredded each other. Not only that, we've helped others to come and shred us. Then we want the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we're asking, where is the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Everything that is happening in the Muslim lands, go see whose hands is in it. Go see who's financing it. Go see who's supporting it. Go see who's giving bases and who's giving weapons and who's giving all this. Where do you think this is coming from? Go check. They say follow the money trail. You'll find the crumbs. You follow the crumbs, you find the person. You'll be shocked what we Muslims are doing to one another. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned this in the Quran. That this is not just a hukum for the Bani Israel. This is a hukum for you also. What are you Muslims doing? You're killing one another, turning each other into refugees. And then you are the one helping them, saying, oh, no, it's not how this. We Muslims, we have this aid agency and this aid agency, and we're helping these Muslims. Brother, it was haram for you to take them out of their homes in the first place, to turn them into refugees. This is haram. Why are you sending aid agencies and now we have to give them zakah also? You are spending 10 times that amount you're giving in zakah to them. You're spending 10 times that to turn them into refugees. Now you think you're going to be forgiven? You're spending your zakah on them now? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. It's a very emotional topic and we have to be careful what we say, but the truth is the truth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, then you were buying them off. أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ. Are you going to believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in another part? And if this is the case, فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا What should be the recompense of such a people except disgrace in the world? Today, look at us Muslims. Why are we so disgraced? This is the root cause of why we're disgraced. وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ يُرَدُّونَ إِلَىٰ أَشَدِّ الْعَذَابِ. And on the day of judgment, they'll be returned and turned to more and more severe forms of punishment and adhab. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. Remember one reality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is never heedless of your actions. He knows what you're doing. We might claim that kuffar are doing this to us, kuffar are doing this to us. Go see what we Muslims are doing to one another. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us hidayah and have mercy on all of us. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. اللهم أيد الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين. ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة للقوم الظالمين ونجنا برحمتك من القوم الكافرين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.